Hi, welcome to our Project 3, 100 Ideas. Before we go into our 100 ideas, I would like to talk about how we went about generating and selecting our ideas. So we got inspiration from a lot of different places. For example, we determined if everyday objects can be improved upon. We identify environmental and social need or problems and whether there is a solution to those problems already. We asked friends and family whether there was a product that they wish that existed right now. And we also analyzed how to automate tedious tasks and how to create solutions to automate those tasks. And we also determined issues in our personal lives that could be fixed by a product. And we selected the best ideas based on whether there was a target market for that product and whether the ideas were feasible to implement.
As you can see here, these are our 100 ideas. As Christy mentioned before, we used the help of our family and friends to help generate some ideas. For example, one of my friends wanted an automatic eyelash curler. It may not be the most practical thing, but it was an idea. And then after coming up with these ideas, we ranked them as Annika will explain next.
Moving on to our rating scale, this is what we came up with. It's a 5-point scale that allows for a lot of thought and flexibility when deciding on our 4 categories of market size, feasibility, innovativeness, and demand. This scale helped us look at our 100 ideas and determine whether they would actually be a good startup business idea. Based upon our findings from this scale, we came up with our top 10 ideas, which Austin will share a little bit more about.
So out of the 100 ideas previously listed, we chose the top 10 based off of how many points we gave each idea as described in the 4 categories before. And the number 1 that we chose was a universal remote that can turn everything on and off at your house that's electronic at once, so you don't have to manage 10 billion remotes in your house. The next was a phone case that can give someone else part of your battery, like a wireless charger. And it's not as bulky as one of the portable chargers, and it's more economically and environmentally efficient. The next one would be a fire alarm that comes with a phone app to send alerts when smoke or carbon monoxide is detected in your home. Our 4th idea was a tampon dispenser that is small enough to fit inside stalls, so people don't have to buy it outside of the stalls. The 5th one is an app that blocks everything related to an individual regardless of social media platforms. The 6th one would be a windshield defroster that doubles as a heater and a scraper. The 7th one would be a clock that mimics sunset and sunrise light colors in your room. The 8th one would be a cooling blanket for when you want to feel the weight of a warm blanket but are too hot. The 9th one would be a machine that can fold clothes automatically for you. And the last one is an app that shows local concerts or clubs that are open that you normally wouldn't find on mainstream apps.
So, as Austin has described previously, our top 2 ideas were a phone case that can give others some of your battery, because everyone struggles with battery issues today due to the fact that it's so unpredictable and sometimes you're not carrying a charger with you. But something that is predictable is that everyone has a phone. Another thing that we thought was a good idea was wireless charging, because that's a niche that really hasn't been jumped into fully yet in all the cases, and can be customizable to like certain colors or certain phones. We also thought it was a good use for safety, because you could be in situations like walking across campus alone at night, and that's definitely something that you need a phone for. Our next one is a universal remote that can turn off everything all at once or individually. So we thought this was a really good environmental impact with climate change, especially as what's going on in the world right now. There's a lot of financial help, so it pays for itself by saving power. And you'll save more on your electricity bill. And it's the ease of access, which is that everything is in one location, so you don't have to go through 19 million remotes to find something to turn everything off.
For our top 2 ideas, we conducted research over the internet for potential competitors. We were not able to find a device that acts both as a wireless charger and a phone case. However, we did identify 2 phone case chargers and 2 wireless charging banks that occupy a major part of both the charging phone case market and the wireless charging bank market. Although there is no product on the market like our own idea, these 4 products would still somewhat pose as competition. Our second idea, the universal off remote, also does not appear to have any current competition from our research conducted online. The closest 2 product types that we could find that could potentially pose as competition to our second idea would be universal TV remotes or home control systems like Google Home. Our idea, however, would have a competitive edge over these others, as it would be able to turn off lights and anything plugged into an outlet with the touch of a single physical button.
I definitely learned a lot from this project in terms of experience and lessons. It really challenged my creativity, as it was harder to come up with great ideas towards the end. It also forced me to look around my surroundings and identify problems and needs around me. I also learned that identifying the needs and problems can be easy, but actually coming up with solutions to fix those problems can be very challenging. I also learned that a lot of great ideas sound cool, but in reality they're actually useless, or there's not really a need for them. For example, people will use the product if it was given to them for free, but are not actually willing to pay for the product itself.
Some experiences and lessons that I learned from this project are that I had to learn how to be creative. I'm not usually a creative person, but this project forced me to be. I had to think about what is wrong in the world and what goes on in my everyday life and my friends' everyday lives that could be improved. I also learned about what some of my friends struggle with, since they do not live in the dorms, and they would have different struggles than people like me who do. And then the last thing I learned was how realistic some things are. They might generally sound good in concept, but the actual reality of people actually wanting to spend money on it could be very low, or just not enough to make a business out of it. For example, like I was saying before, one of my friends wanted an automatic eyelash curler, and it sounds really nice, but will a lot of people want to spend money on it?
I got a lot of great experiences and lessons from this project, and one being that it forced me to get so creative. I really had to think outside my box, and that was super challenging. It was really funny to see all the good and very bad ideas I came up with. It also made me realize that good quality ideas need a lot of thought behind them, and a good idea can't be come up with on the fly. It really needs a deeper thought process. And lastly, it made me realize that as good as an idea may sound, it might not be in demand or what people would spend their money on. A good product has a lot more to it than just the possibility of it coming together. It needs the desirability of the audience.
So what this project made me experience is that it forced me to look around the world and see what can be improved, especially for social experiences regarding race and gender. I realized that many things can be improved to be more socially conscious of those around us and just make things a little bit more accessible to everybody. It was honestly harder than I thought to create ideas that can be consistent and worked into a product/service. And it just made us all realize that when we sat down and we talked about our ideas, that it takes so much time and effort to create something that is good and can go into the technical side and off into marketing. So it really opened my eyes about entrepreneurship.
Some experience and lessons that I have learned from this project is that it helped me think like an entrepreneur would. It also taught me how to analyze whether an idea was good or worth investing time to make. With this, it helped me identify specific qualities that make products or services good. It also challenged my creative and critical thinking skills.
Most of what I learned from this project was that the world is really filled with creative people, and if you were to look online and research ideas that you thought that were unique to yourself, that it probably already exists as a patent or an existing product in the market. Another thing that I learned from this project is that I learned that this was actually a really good brainstorming exercise, and it taught me that I can learn the most about and come up with the most ideas by looking at the immediate world around me. Just from personal experience, I was able to identify a lot of new ideas by first figuring out problems or daily hassles that I went through, such as raking the leaves or washing the dishes. Okay, so this pretty much concludes our presentation on our 100 ideas. We really hoped you learned a lot about the ideas that we came up with and the process that we went through to go get them. Here is actually a link to the Google Docs that we made with our entire list of over 100 ideas and how we ranked them to get our top 10 and our top 2 ideas. Thank you.